You know, it's not like either one of us are necessarily jokesters, but we have a very similar sense of humor, and we've known each other for a really long time. And sometimes you get those little giggle fits where you just it's knowing that you're not supposed to laugh and you can't help but laugh. So yeah, probably with her.
Obviously, the shield is a big part of everything. And
Just everything in life. It's just a big part of everything
in the world.
in the world.
What gags can we look forward to in this particular Civil War?
You got Anthony Mackie on set, so there's going to be laughs. You also got Paul Bettany, and you got Paul Rudd. And these are really, really funny individuals. So I bet this is going to be a good one.
First, get the role of Captain America.
By luck, you know, it was something that they were interested in me auditioning, and I was a little apprehensive, and it's kind of strange. The more I kind of resisted, the more they kind of pursued, and eventually they offered it. And it took a little bit of soul searching and talking to a few people, because I was a little tentative, but then I ended up going for it, and it honestly was the best decision of my life. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if I can do this.
Thought about it, and you were ready for it.
Thought about it and just felt, you know, this isn't the way I want to do this. It was a big contract. It was a 6-picture thing, and I just like making movies one at a time. You know, if at any moment you don't respond well, or if any moment you want to shift focus, you're afforded that opportunity. And the problem with a contract like that is if you have those hesitations or reinvented desires, you can't pursue them because you got to go back into the suit, and that was scary. I had done it, you know, 6 years prior or something like that. I think he has a kind of austerity and a kind of binary approach to the world that I think is something we all kind of aspire to, in the sense that he knows what's right, he knows what's wrong, and that's it, and he believes it. It's a very clean approach, and I think he has this kind of intrinsic leadership quality that people gravitate towards. It kind of breeds allegiance.
Also, he looks great in
And
Stars
he
and
looks
Stripes.
great in red, white, and blue. Come on, he looks great.
What's been your favorite incarnation of the outfit so far?
Stealth suit, without question. The suit in Cap 2 and Winter Soldier, the opening sequence where it's an all navy number. That thing was great. You know, I keep trying to bring it back. I'm going to try and bring it back for the Infinity Wars. But Marvel really liked the red. You know, a little more of a purist in the approach. I had done 2 or 3 movies before I did Fantastic Four, and they were, I did a movie called Cellular with Kim Basinger and William H. Macy, and it was, I felt like, I'm a lead in a movie with the actual movie stars. It was great, but I don't know that was, I think maybe Fantastic Four, just because it was one of the first movies that had more of a global awareness. Well, yeah, I did a movie called Puncture a few years back in 2010 that I really, really, really liked. It's great. It's a true story about a very gifted lawyer who's also a drug addict who took on certain hospitals that were using non-disposable needles. And it's a really great story, and it was a great character, and I really loved the movie, but it was a really small film, so not a lot of people saw it. Trying to, yeah, it's a matter of trying to find the right project. Doing the first movie was, to be honest, not a lot of people are dying to let a kid who's never direct a movie. So the first time out really was just a matter of someone was willing to take a risk. The second time out, there has to be a far more rigorous process in picking the right project and doing it the right way.
How has directing a movie changed the way you act?
It's very eye-opening. It's very tricky to be in a editing room and see all your little handicaps and mistakes and bad habits, and it's tough. It's tough to process, but like I said, it was a very educational, and I tried to bring some of the new approaches to this film, and I'm excited to direct again for that exact reason, that you kind of have a better sense of how you operate as an actor, not just as a director.
Advice for young actors looking to get to where you are today?
Sure. Well, what advice are they looking for? I mean, it's some actors just want to know how to get into the business, and that's a trickier one to navigate. In terms of advice on the profession, make sure you watch cinema. No movies, no films. The best thing you can do is have a really extensive knowledge of the field you're in. Don't just watch the new movies that are out. Watch old movies. Really understand old directors, old scripts, old actors. Just know the history.
And perseverance as well?
Well, sure. I think that's pretty applicable in any competitive endeavor. You got, that's again, those types of things feel a little more disposable to me. Stay strong, listen to your heart. That's the crap that, listen, every business that's competitive, you need those things. But if you're going to specifically, dedicate yourself to film, know film. Take the time to know movies. Don't be in a meeting where someone says to you, "Oh, what do you think about this?" and you say, "Oh, I never saw One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest." Get out of here.
How would you like to see him grow?
I just like any time they give him conflict. He's, like I said, he's got this kind of very clear view of the world, and I think that can come across at times as not vanilla, but just being stern and having convictions isn't dynamic enough on screen. If you just have that approach, you're just kind of like your friend's scary dad, and you're just like he really has a presence, but like I don't know anything about him. And I think the best thing about Cap is when you see him affected by things, when you see him emote, when you see him concerned and unsure. So moving forward, as long as we can make him kind of human and make him not always so strict and confident.
First time I sang on stage was probably I was in 6th grade. It was my first play. It was a play called Crazy Camp. I had to sing a song called I Don't Want No Real Job. The popular girl in school magically liked me all of a sudden. I had a leading role, and we began dating during the play, and then the second the play ended, she dumped me. Doesn't take a genius to figure out this equation. Gotta get more leads. She was my first girlfriend, and we did kiss at recess. That's what like the cool kids would do. You'd walk into the woods and kiss and come back, and everyone's like, ooh. So we did that. From what I can recall, it was a great memory all around. And I'm sure there were nerves, but it wasn't some disaster. Like I didn't shit myself or anything. Hey, things can go south. That doesn't always go well. It probably wasn't cool. It was probably, remember those magazines, those highlights magazines you get in the dentist office?
Yeah.
Or, it was probably some magazine that I got from like some magazine club when I was like in 3rd grade or something. And, not cool, like just some generic like surfer. I did have a very large, like one of those giant, actually I got it in New York. When my family and I were in New York one time, and you go to one of those stores in Times Square where, they got all this cheesy stuff that tourists buy. And it was just one of those giant posters of Sandy, and I had it, and it was on my ceiling. Yeah, what a loser. Not that Sandy's not cool, but that's like a loser thing to do. But I did have it on my ceiling for a long time. There's varying weights of the shield, so it's not always the heavy one, all the way to the point of it being full of CGI. Sometimes, you're swinging it and flinging it around, and you got nothing in your hand, so I can't take full credit for that. Okay, you're right, I will. Oh, what can I say? I'm just amazing. It's such a silly thing. When I was a kid, I did Taekwondo, like every kid. And at the end of our classes, the instructor would take their belt off, and we'd have a jumping contest. And I could always just jump real high. It's more of a party trick now, whether people want to see it or not. I think I sang that Grease song, "You're the One That I Want," with my first real girlfriend. The first girlfriend you have when you actually argue the way that adults argue. I was in 7th grade. She was a freshman, again from a play. We were in Anne of Green Gables. She was Anne, I was Gilbert. I went on a cruise with her and her family, and we sang that Grease song. I remember when I was my junior, the summer of my junior, going into senior year, I knew I wanted to act, but I didn't have any contacts in the city, so I wrote a bunch of letters to casting directors trying to get a job, and I got an internship at a casting office. Taking the subway, and just feeling like a grown-up. I got to speak every day to agents, setting up actors. That's how I got my agent. Being friendly with 2 or 3 of them, and just said, hey, listen, I know I'm just Chris and Bonnie's office, but can I come and audition for you? And they let me, and they signed me. And then I got a pilot, yeah. I stayed at a dorm. It was student housing. It was, I had one room and a bathroom down the hall, and I'd been there for like a month and a half. And I came in one day, and there was another kid there, and he was like, hello, and I was like, who are you? I forget his name, but he was, from another country. It was just, I went to the front desk, I was like, there's somebody in my, and they said, yeah, when you sign the thing, we have the right to do this. I said, man. But he only wanted to watch Friends, which is fine, I like Friends too.